On her wedding day, He Weifang's in-laws did not welcome her or hold a wedding banquet. They even prohibited her from entering through the main door. The drunk groom, Liu Chang, barely managed to complete the wedding ceremony with assistance. Afterwards, he warned He Weifang that their marriage was in name only. He stated that his family had been officials for generations, and he should have married a woman from a similar background, not a merchant's daughter like her, calling it a disgrace to his life. He vowed never to set foot in their marital home. He Weifang's maid, Yu Lu, complained on her behalf. As a merchant's daughter, He Weifang was wealthy and adored at home. Yet, she faced difficulties as soon as she married into the Liu family. He Weifang was unfazed as she entered the marriage to repay a debt of gratitude. Her mother had been sick, and the Liu family had provided special medicinal herbs for her treatment, essentially making it a transaction. By the next spring, despite the medicine, her mother had passed away, and He Weifang's life with the Liu family became increasingly difficult. She served Liu Chang's greedy mother daily. When Liu Chang's mother saw Yu Lu's jade pendant, she took it under the pretense that servants should not wear valuable items. She also demanded money from He Weifang to help her son succeed in the imperial examinations. Liu Chang accused He Weifang of attempting to ruin his reputation with money. His mother listened silently and did not defend He Weifang, even ordering her to a temple to pray for Liu Chang under the guise of angering her husband. She was monitored and not allowed to rise from kneeling for 5 hours. At the temple, He Weifang knelt in the main hall. When the monitoring servant fell asleep, Yu Lu suggested she move around. He Weifang took the opportunity to get water from an acquaintance and deliver a flower pot to a palace. Stopping before a deity, she wished for Liu Chang to lose hair while combing and for him to fail his exams. She lamented that her family, being major medicinal herb suppliers, could have simply bought medicine from the Liu family. Instead, they insisted on her marrying into their family due to her supposedly auspicious birth chart and greedily demanded a share of her family's business, worsening their financial situation. Hearing a noise nearby, she went to investigate. The person hid, pretending to be a deity, and claimed he could grant her wishes. Seeing the man's clothing, He Weifang threw her flower basket at him, scolding him for his deception. Worried that Liu Chang's mother's servants might wake up and discover her absence, she did not linger and returned directly to the temple. The next morning, Yu Lu woke He Weifang with news that Liu Chang's father had moved her prized peonies from her courtyard to entertain the daughter of Prince Ning, Li Yujin, the emperor's brother. These peonies were a keepsake from her mother. He Weifang rushed to check on her peonies and found each one wilted. Liu Chang's father complained about the flowers being delicate and offered He Weifang any treasure from their home if she could revive them to please Li Yujin. He Weifang responded that the peonies were priceless to her, showing no interest in other treasures. She only wanted to preserve her mother's keepsake. She began working to save the peonies in the courtyard. Passing by, Liu Chang saw He Weifang actively tending to the garden and thought she was preparing for Li Yujin's visit, which softened his attitude towards her. He ordered refreshments to be sent to her room. After a night of care, He Weifang revived the peonies, and standing in the morning sun, she couldn't help but smile at the sight of the vibrant flowers. Seeing her smile, Liu Chang felt a stir of affection. When the time came, the Liu family welcomed the esteemed Li Yujin and her escort, envoy Jiang Changyang. Years ago, Liu Chang and Li Yujin had been in love but were separated due to their different statuses. Now a widow, Li Yujin wished to reunite with Liu Chang. Liu Chang's father was thrilled, seeing a chance to gain more power and wealth by aligning with Li Yujin. Jiang Changyang, the envoy, dismounted amidst flattery from Liu Chang's father. He Weifang was shocked to realize that he was the man who had pretended to be a deity at the temple. To please Li Yujin and Jiang, Liu Chang's father invited them to view the peony banquet. Li Yujin wanted to pick a peony for her hair, and Liu Chang's father said she could take any she liked. He Weifang intervened, stating these were her mother's keepsakes and damaging them would be disrespectful. Li Yujin persisted, asking if Liu Chang would allow it. He Weifang, sensing Li Yujin's intentions, pretended to be greedy and petty, a trait despised by officials, which made Li Yujin back off. Jiang stepped in, inviting Li Yujin to sit down at the feast. Li Yujin deliberately took He Weifang's seat and asked Liu Chang to sit next to her. He Weifang was indifferent to their flirtation, hoping they would fall in love again so she could easily divorce Liu Chang. During the feast, an assassin disguised as a performer tried to kill Jiang, but he remained calm and captured the assassin without personal involvement. As others panicked, Jiang ordered the furniture reset and the banquet to continue. He Weifang was only concerned about her peonies. However, passing by Liu Chang's parents' room, she overheard a shocking secret. They planned to bribe Jiang with money from selling precious medicine, but reminded each other to keep He Weifang unaware, as the medicine given to her mother had been a placebo. The real medicine remained in their possession. Heartbroken by the revelation, He Weifang pulled Yu Lu back from confronting them and managed to return to her room, holding back her emotions. He Weifang had always thought her mother's illness was incurable, despite medication. It was a shock to discover she had trusted the wrong people. Filled with regret, she slapped herself, furious at being deceived by the Liu family. Even if she exposed Liu Chang's parents' scheme, they would never admit it. Only after gaining her freedom could she seek revenge. She approached Liu Chang to propose a divorce, offering to step aside so he could be with Li Yuzhen. Contrary to her expectations, Liu Chang not only refused, but also warned her that she could not leave the Liu family unless he divorced her himself. Meanwhile, Liu Chang's mother brought Li Yuzhen to a rest chamber. Jealous of He Weifang's position as Liu Chang's wife, Li Yuzhen used the excuse of an assassin's intrusion to blame He Weifang's poor supervision. She ordered that the servants serving that day receive 80 lashes and He Weifang 40. Liu Chang, seeing Li Yuzhen's change from the kind and innocent person he once knew to someone who misused her power, knelt and took the blame upon himself. Li Yuzhen, not wanting to upset Liu Chang, withdrew her order. He Weifang also began to take action. Knowing that Liu Chang's parents planned to sell her dowry shops for money, she and Yu Lu went to inspect them, envisioning supporting herself with these shops after the divorce. Liu Chang's father learned of this and confronted them on a bridge, ordering his men to bring He Weifang back home. Yu Lu tried to block them, allowing He Weifang to escape to the shops. During the struggle, Yu Lu was pushed into the water. Despite not being able to swim, He Weifang attempted to rescue Yu Lu, but was stopped by Liu Chang, who then ordered others to save her. Tragically, it was too late. Yu Lu had hit her head on rocks at the bottom and drowned after being submerged too long. Refusing to believe Yu Lu was gone, He Weifang begged the Liu family to save her. Liu Chang's cruel father lied, claiming Yu Lu had resisted first, causing the accident, and blamed He Weifang for her disobedience, leading to Yu Lu's death. Filled with a desire for revenge, He Weifang realized that enduring mistreatment had not kept those closest to her safe. After burying Yu Lu, He Weifang stopped holding back. She took out her abacus to tally her dowry and demanded that Liu Chang's mother return the antiques used to decorate Li Yuzhen's room and her 2 shops. Liu Chang's mother urged He Weifang to prioritize the Liu family. To provoke Liu Chang, He Weifang pointed out how disgraceful it was for him to use his wife's dowry for his own future. Unaware of his parents' actions, Liu Chang immediately ordered that all belongings owed to He Weifang be returned to her. When He Weifang stepped outside, she coincidentally met Changyang and noticed Yu Lu's jade pendant on one of his guards. Realizing Liu Chang's parents had given away Yu Lu's belongings to curry favor with Jiang, she explained the situation and asked to exchange her pendant to retrieve Yu Lu's. Changyang, without requiring an exchange, returned the pendant to her and comforted her to grieve properly. Surprisingly, the only consolation He Weifang received was from this stranger she had only met twice. She asked Jiang to hold on to Yu Lu's pendant until the next day, to which he agreed, unaware of her plan, but willing to play along. The next day, as Liu Chang's father hosted guests in the garden, He Weifang publicly pointed out that the guard was wearing Yu Lu's keepsake. Jiang pretended to be unaware, claiming it was a gift from Liu Chang's father. He Weifang tearfully explained that the pendant had been taken by Liu Chang's mother and used to ingratiate themselves with someone of high status. The news of Liu Chang's parents taking a servant's belongings spread among the guests, causing embarrassment for Liu Chang's father. He blamed the steward, falsely claiming it was a mix-up with the gifts, and had him punished and expelled from the household. Jiang returned the pendant to He Weifang, hoping it would bring her some happiness. Nonetheless, He Weifang remained troubled, seeing Liu Chang's father scapegoating a servant who could not defend themselves. She felt powerless to change these injustices. At another banquet held by the Liu family, Li Yuzhen excused herself to the pavilion for air, but actually to meet with Liu Chang privately. Although other women wanted to accompany her, Jiang found a reason to keep them away, intentionally creating an opportunity for Li and Liu. Inside the pavilion, Li Yuzhen removed her outer garment to reveal the dress she wore when she first met Liu Chang. She expressed her wish for Liu Chang to divorce He Weifang. Annoyed, Liu Chang, who disliked being manipulated, first by his parents to marry He Weifang, and now by Li Yuzhen to divorce her, asked Li to forget the past and set clear boundaries between them. As he tried to leave, Li Yuzhen cried out. Turning back, Liu Chang saw her open her clothing to reveal a scar on her shoulder, confessing her enduring love and the pain of not forgetting him, even while married. Moved by her confession, Liu Chang could not push her away when she kissed him. At that moment, He Weifang, using the pretext of admiring flowers, gathered the guests in the yard, timing it to expose the intimate couple in the pavilion. Shocked, Liu Chang panicked. He Weifang made a scene, crying and asking the guests to support her, even threatening to jump into the lake. Amidst the chaos, Jiang watched her act with amusement. Liu Chang's mother hurried to dissuade her from escalating the situation. He Weifang pretended to be persuaded, knelt on the ground, and asked everyone present to witness her request for a divorce. This was a scheme coordinated between He Weifang and Li Yuzhen. He Weifang approached Li Yuzhen, expressing her desire to leave the Liu family, coincidentally when Li Yuzhen wanted to marry Liu Chang. Both could benefit from this arrangement. Knowing Liu Chang's timid nature, Li Yuzhen was willing to sacrifice her reputation. To cover up the scandal, Liu Chang's parents planned to marry Li Yuzhen into the family. Before this, Liu Chang's father consulted a fortune teller who had been bribed by Li Yuzhen to declare that Li Yuzhen was the key to their family's prosperity. Liu Chang's parents were delighted, but Liu Chang was still unwilling to divorce. Liu Chang came to apologize to He Weifang, thinking kind words would dissuade her from divorcing. He Weifang told him not to flatter himself. She didn't care about his past with Li Yuzhen. She wanted a divorce because she detested everything about the Liu family. Realizing He Weifang had intentionally made a scene by crying, Liu Chang, already unhappy with being manipulated by his parents, became infuriated by He Weifang's manipulation. In anger, he tried to force himself on her. He Weifang struggled, pushed him away, and ran from the bed. When Liu Chang grabbed her from behind, she bit his arm hard. He threw her off, causing her forehead to hit the table. Terrified, He Weifang grabbed a piece of broken porcelain and threatened Liu Chang not to come closer. Liu Chang harshly stated he would never let her leave and would no longer let her suffer. Heartbroken and realizing how difficult escaping would be, He Weifang looked at her disheveled reflection in the mirror, picked up scissors from the table, and decided to take a gamble. She knocked on Changyang's door, tearfully claiming that Liu Chang had attacked her and left a cut on her shoulder with scissors, asking Jiang to help her escape. Jiang noticed the shape of the wound and bloodstains on her sleeve, realizing she had inflicted the wound herself. Hearing this, He Weifang grabbed the fan handle from Jiang's hand and stabbed her wound, making it appear as if she had been attacked. Impressed by her courage, Jiang agreed to help her the next day. He Weifang took her divorce case to court, detailing her sufferings in the Liu family. However, the judge, influenced by Liu Chang's father, not only failed to support her, but also criticized her for being childless and suggested Liu Chang's affairs were justified. The judge berated He Weifang for disrespecting Liu Chang's parents and ordered her to be beaten, not divorced. Changyang spoke up, questioning the judge with a hypothetical scenario of his wife cheating, assaulting him, and then insulting him, highlighting the absurdity. He also mentioned the assassin at the banquet to pressure the judge, who then reluctantly stamped the divorce papers. Following Jiang's suggestion, the judge ordered the Liu family to settle the dowry within 3 days and signed the divorce papers. He Weifang finally got what she wanted. To thank Changyang, she saw him off as he was about to return to Chang'an. Expecting a gift of gold or jewels, Jiang was surprised to find a package of roasted flatbreads instead. He Weifang explained that the Liu family had not yet returned her dowry, so she had no extra money, but promised to thank him properly in the future. After Jiang left, Liu Chang's father had someone track Jiang's departure to ensure he was gone before ordering his servants to kill He Weifang. Initially, he had wanted to divorce her, but since she took her dowry and sued, damaging the Liu family's reputation, he felt she must be eliminated to keep the dowry for themselves. A servant snuck into He Weifang's room and tried to strangle her, but she managed to wound him with an iron spike and escape. She hid behind a water tank, where Liu Chang saw her. When the servant came out asking about her, Liu Chang pointed in the opposite direction, helping her escape. With Liu Chang's help, He Weifang fled the Liu family, heading straight for her own home. However, upon arriving, she saw servants from the Liu family at her house. They claimed that being connected to the Liu family was fortunate, and He Weifang was ungrateful for causing trouble and leaving. Her father, not caring about her ordeal, apologized for her behavior, and her aunt agreed that if He Weifang returned, she should be sent back. Kneeling, He Weifang thanked her father for raising her, left the money she had brought for him due to their struggling business, and took only a bag of coins and her mother's peonies. To make the Liu family believe she was no longer a threat, she threw her hairpin off a cliff to simulate her death. The Liu family's servants found the hairpin and assumed she had died. Liu Chang was devastated, blaming his parents for driving He Weifang to her death. He resented being controlled by them and refused to marry Li Yuzhen despite his father's anger and accusations that their initial secret engagement had caused their family's exile from Chang'an. His father, furious, struck him and ordered a message sent to Li Yuzhen to schedule the wedding immediately. After a difficult journey, He Weifang reached Chang'an and went to her mother's fragrant garden, hoping to claim ownership. However, the person there denied the existence of any steward or owner and shut the door on her. With nowhere else to go, she temporarily stayed in an abandoned house, determined to uncover the truth and reclaim Fragrant Garden. To survive, she sought work. But without a household registration, no one dared employ her. She approached a shop where the female owner refused to hire help, but the male owner agreed to take her in, albeit at only a third of the usual wage. He Weifang pulled out her abacus to calculate her monthly income. The shop owner admired her white jade abacus and asked her to pawn it in exchange for help with registering her household. After some thought, He Weifang agreed, but requested a written agreement. From that day, He Weifang worked hard daily, pleasing the shop owner. However, his wife, Jiang, displayed hostility towards her, intentionally bumping into her, causing dishes to shatter, and falsely accusing her of stealing money. The shop owner stopped the argument between them, choosing to trust He Weifang and warning Jiang not to trouble her. Jiang clutched her clothes, looking fearful. He Weifang sensed something was off with the couple, and the next day the shop owner revealed his true colors. Drunk, he made advances towards He Weifang, claiming he would divorce his wife and marry her. Seeing his unstable mood, for her safety, He Weifang tentatively agreed to marry him, but requested a celebration with 2 tables the next day to inform the neighbors of her marriage. Thinking He Weifang was compliant, the owner locked her in the wine cellar, planning for Jiang to prepare her for the wedding the next day. He Weifang realized Jiang's previous hostility was actually an attempt to protect her, an intent she had misunderstood. The next morning, Jiang brought wedding clothes for He Weifang and confessed the shop owner's instability and his history of harming other women, claiming to marry them before selling them after a few days. He Weifang urged Jiang to report him and divorce, but Jiang felt helpless, bound by her father's dowry agreement, and resigned to her fate. Refusing to accept her situation, He Weifang tried to climb over the courtyard wall, falling repeatedly. Pitying her, Jiang helped stabilize her escape. Just then, the shop owner caught them, pushing Jiang to the ground. He Weifang fell hard, but Jiang held the shop owner's legs, buying He Weifang time to escape. He Weifang ran to the street for help, accidentally bumping into her cousin. As the shop owner followed, her cousin protected her, intending to involve the authorities. However, lacking a household registration, He Weifang asked her cousin not to alert officials and managed to drive the shop owner away. She confided in her cousin about her ordeals with the Liu family and her lack of registration in Chang'an, requesting a fake registration. Her cousin refused to break the law. Knowing her mother had severed ties with her own sisters, including her cousin's mother, for marrying her father, He Weifang feared her aunt might inform her father, risking her recapture by the Liu family. To avoid troubling her cousin, she left him a letter and quietly departed, asking him to keep their meeting confidential. He Weifang heard of a place in Chang'an where one could trade anything for what they needed, regardless of background. She planned to pawn her peonies for a household registration, hoping to buy them back once she had the money. The receptionist asked Weifang to discuss matters with the shop owner in the back. Unsure, she went to meet him, only to discover the shop owner was Jiang Changyang. He had his guard entertain Weifang with ventriloquism, not wanting her to recognize him. As Weifang was about to leave, Jiang revealed himself. Weifang explained her situation, and Jiang asked for 20 pots of peonies in exchange. She signed the contract and followed him to a dance hall. Soon, the paperwork arrived, and Weifang noticed the name Mu Dan, meaning peony, was used. Since she was still not officially divorced from Liu Chang, the alias was beneficial. Just as she stored the papers, she heard a commotion outside. The shop owner was trying to sell his wife, Wu Niang, to the dance hall. Wu Niang pleaded for mercy, promising to obey him if only he wouldn't sell her. Jiang, who despised bullying, threw a teacup at the shop owner's head. Weifang ran down and shielded Wu Niang, warning the shop owner that pawning his wife was illegal. Not wanting Wu Niang to live with the shop owner anymore, Weifang explained that life with her would be tough, but no one would dare to mistreat her again. Wu Niang immediately agreed to live with her. Weifang asked the shop owner what it would take to let Wu Niang go. He demanded 10 coins for a divorce. Weifang agreed, pawning her mother's jade pendant to the dance hall owner to borrow 10 coins. She handed the money to the shop owner, who quickly signed the divorce papers. Weifang gave the papers to Wu Niang and also wrote an IOU to the dance hall owner. As the man was about to leave with the money, Jiang reminded the dance hall owner about the damaged plants, suggesting the man compensate for them. Weifang quickly calculated the cost to be 20 coins. After deducting the 10 coins just received, 10 more were needed. The man couldn't pay, so Jiang ordered his guard to take action, punching the man as a form of compensation for Wu Niang and Weifang. The dance hall owner then tore up Weifang's IOU, acknowledging the bond and loyalty among women. Weifang took Wu Niang back to her abandoned house, now their home. Wu Niang expressed her gratitude, seeing Weifang as a saving grace in her life. Weifang acknowledged Wu Niang as her lifesaver, admitting she couldn't have escaped without her. Wu Niang, having never had a formal name, asked Weifang to name her. Weifang wrote Shengyi on the ground, hoping Shengyi would live a trouble-free and smooth life. Weifang took Shengyi to the flower market to look for work. Weifang spotted a business opportunity: wild peonies on the nearby mountains, which no one was willing to cultivate. She was confident she could nurture the buds into sellable potted plants. Shengyi was worried. While collecting the peonies would cost nothing, they would need money for fertilizer and other supplies, which they didn't have. Weifang came up with a plan and shared it with Changyang, pulling him into investing, assuring him it was a profitable venture. Jiang reminded her of the perilous mountain terrain, but seeing his interest, Weifang excitedly shook his hand to finalize their partnership. The following day, Weifang went to the mountain alone, unaware that Changyang was also there, hunting with Prince Ning. Prince Ning, who saw Jiang as a capable and clever man, wanted to betroth his daughter Li Yuzhen to him to make him an ally and gather information about the emperor. When Jiang saw Weifang in the bushes, he playfully shot an arrow that snagged her hair. He ran over, laughing, apologized, and quietly warned her that she had trespassed into a restricted area and to remain silent to stay alive. Cleverly, Weifang pretended to be frightened and fainted. Jiang had her taken to his tent, posing as someone enamored with beauty. He then pledged his loyalty to Prince Ning, who, in turn, no longer insisted on Jiang marrying Li Yuzhen, and instead rewarded him with a hunted leopard. Back at the camp, Weifang overheard their conversation and confronted Jiang about using her. She mocked him for acting in front of Prince Ning for a leopard. Jiang called her superficial and opened the box supposedly containing the leopard, revealing a jade-carved leopard instead. Bluntly stating his preference for money, Weifang immediately presented a drafted partnership agreement to expand the peony business with Jiang. He changed the profit share from 50-50 to 90-10. If Weifang agreed, the debt of the 19 pots of flowers she owed him would be canceled. Faced with this unfair deal, Weifang called him a shrewd businessman but agreed out of necessity for survival. On the way back, Li Yuzhen stopped Jiang's carriage to check for any hidden women. Weifang quickly ducked down to avoid being seen. Li Yuzhen, finding nothing, boasted to Jiang that Prince Ning had agreed to her marriage with Liu Chang, who would soon be arriving in the capital. Weifang reminded herself to be cautious and avoid being discovered by anyone from the Liu family. Back at their place, Weifang transplanted the dug-up peonies into pots and taught Changyang how to nurture them. Soon, the carefully tended peonies bloomed beautifully. Weifang, thrilled with their success, embraced Changyang, her face full of joy. The next day, they took the peonies to the market to sell. Weifang's peonies were affordable and attractive, quickly selling out. Weifang calculated her earnings. After giving Changyang 90%, there was little left. Still, she planned to rent a house, as their current dilapidated home was in a low-lying area that flooded during rain, making it unsuitable for living. Changyang suggested saving more money before moving, but Weifang, who had learned business from her father since childhood, emphasized the importance of saving time and costs. She explained that if one falls ill, no amount of money can be enjoyed. A real estate agent showed them a rundown estate situated on higher ground, affordably priced, and near Changyang's residence, ensuring safety. Weifang noticed the decaying leaves on the ground, perfect for peony fertilizer, and decided to rent it. To negotiate the price, she pretended to be dissatisfied with the house. After some bargaining, they rented it at the lowest price. While cleaning the yard, Weifang accidentally discovered a door leading directly to Changyang's backyard. It turned out that the house she rented was an unattended part of Changyang's property. The agent had already taken the money and run. When Jiang learned the full story, he initially refused to rent the house to them. Weifang pleaded, explaining that living nearby would allow her to care for the pond peonies and facilitate their peony business partnership. Realizing the convenience for monitoring the business, Jiang agreed to let them stay. Meanwhile, Liu Chang arrived in Chang'an under the directives of Prince Ning and Li Yuzhen. Li had bought back the original Liu family residence in Chang'an for him, hoping to return to how things were. Prince Ning arranged a position for him. Liu Chang initially wanted to decline, believing in his ability to pass the civil service exam on his own. However, Li reminded him that even if he passed the exam, he would start as a minor official. A higher starting point could help him achieve his ambitions sooner. And Li did not want to be separated from him again. Soon, Liu Chang took up his post, known to all as Prince Ning's arrangement. Liu Chang believed that by achieving merits, he would not be looked down upon, and vowed to advance in his career through his own talents. Weifang visited Changyang's residence to tend to the peony flowers previously mortgaged there. Finding the place bustling, she assumed they were celebrating Changyang's birthday. However, a guard explained that it was not a birthday, but the day the storeroom was opened, actually to receive gifts to fill the empty storeroom. Knowing Changyang's deep friendship with the emperor and his fondness for collecting treasures, officials from the court came to present gifts. Weifang understood that Changyang's actions were merely a show of his absurd side to outsiders. Meanwhile, Li Yuzhen took Liu Chang to visit a friend's house. Liu Chang brought a valuable painting from his family collection as a gift and boasted about it. To his surprise, the male host mentioned having countless precious paintings in his storeroom, and even offered to have the artist paint for Liu Chang in person if he liked. Feeling inferior, Liu Chang did not follow Li Yuzhen and the female host to the garden, but stayed to discuss public affairs with the male host, who bluntly told him that with such wealth, one should enjoy life and leave the burden of governing to less privileged officials. Shocked by this hedonistic attitude, Liu Chang did not want to associate with them. Walking through the corridor, he saw peonies in the garden, which reminded him of Weifang tending peonies at home. He overheard two maids excitedly discussing how, thanks to a woman, they could now afford peonies themselves. Liu Chang quickly inquired about the woman's appearance, but as the maids were about to answer, Li Yuzhen and the female host approached. The host scolded the maids for bringing lowly items into the estate. The maids, frightened, knelt and said they would move the flowers to the servants' quarters. In their haste and nervousness, they spilled the soil from the pots. Li Yuzhen promptly pulled Liu Chang away, fearing contamination. Liu Chang was surprised to learn even peonies had social status, and felt increasingly different from Li Yuzhen. On the way back, recalling the maid's words, Liu Chang decided to try his luck at the flower market to see if the woman they mentioned was the one he was thinking of. At that moment, Weifang was at the flower market and saw someone holding a pot of golden peonies. As she approached for a closer look, she witnessed an old man intentionally causing a carriage accident to claim compensation by dropping the flowers. Stepping forward to ensure justice, Weifang offered to pay the compensation if the flower seller would sell the peonies to her. Unaware of the flower's value and eager for the money, the seller agreed immediately. Thus, Weifang not only helped the old man out of trouble, but also acquired a valuable pot of peonies at a low price. Weifang was about to leave when she suddenly heard someone calling her. Looking up, she saw Liu Chang. Startled, she grabbed the flowers and ran. Liu Chang caught up with her, accusing Weifang of faking her death to deceive people and begging her to return with him. Although his marriage to Li Yuzhen was already arranged, he promised he would treat Weifang well. After hearing this, Weifang angrily accused the Liu family of various misdeeds, especially highlighting their deceit with fake medicine. Liu Chang quickly explained that he was unaware of this and offered to secretly provide her with the real medicine. Weifang questioned him, pointing out that the medicine was useless to her now that her mother had passed away. She bluntly told Liu Chang that if he truly felt guilty, he should consider her already dead. Liu Chang tried to argue, but Weifang turned and fled. Back home, Liu Chang told Weifang's parrot that she was still alive, regretting not recognizing her strength and resilience sooner. Meanwhile, Weifang planted the damaged golden peony in her yard, knowing it would need careful cultivation to survive. Suddenly, a kite fell from the sky, and hearing the noise from the nearby Jiang estate, she knew it must have come from there. At that moment, Changyang's friend, San Lang, curious about who was living in the long-abandoned backyard, accidentally fell into the yard and was met by a surprised Weifang. Changyang rushed in to introduce them. Seeing the situation, Weifang immediately demanded compensation for the golden peony damaged by San Lang. San Lang promised that if the peony survived, he would pay whatever price Weifang asked. At the market, Changyang was being harassed by her ex-husband, but Weifang arrived in time to intervene. The ex-husband knelt and begged for Changyang's forgiveness, promising to treat her better if she returned with him. Weifang bluntly stated that he only wanted Changyang back to exploit and mistreat her. She firmly advised Changyang that she would be better off without him. Weifang then picked up a hoe, scaring the man away. That evening, back at home, Changyang practiced calligraphy while Weifang made spices, a skill her mother had taught her, creating different patterns according to her preferences. Changyang felt a warm sense of fulfillment since meeting Weifang. She used her first earnings to buy fabric and carefully made a garment for Weifang as a token of deep gratitude. Moved, Weifang. The next day, took Changyang shopping to buy her new clothes and to fully experience the vibrancy of Chang'an. Several customers came to return flowers, claiming that the flowers wilted just days after purchase and demanded refunds. Amidst the chaos, an ex-husband and his friends stirred up the crowd, accusing Weifang and Changyang of being swindlers and vandalizing their flower stall. Weifang offered to compensate everyone, showing her sincerity. Back at home, Weifang took out all the money she had saved, but accidentally cut her hand on the money box. Meanwhile, Changyang, in the yard, heard noise from the back and sent a guard to investigate. Curious, he went to the backyard himself and saw Weifang crying silently in front of her mother's portrait. She lamented the hardships faced by women but allowed herself only a short moment of weakness. Once the incense burned out, she went out to face the customers demanding refunds. Changyang was moved by Weifang's tears and resilience. He believed in her abilities and chose not to intervene, leaving only a guard to protect her secretly. Weifang handed out the compensation, and the satisfied crowd dispersed, resolving the crisis smoothly. The ex-husband regretted not harming them, and his friend suggested using a sachet stolen from Changyang as a plot against them. Weifang informed Changyang of the series of events, expressing regret that she did not earn any money and had made mistakes. If Changyang wanted to break their agreement, she would not complain. However, Changyang declared his intention to continue working with her. His words seemed harsh, but were actually meant to encourage her. He Weifang and Qin Shengyi discussed thanking the elderly woman who spoke up for them the previous day. Qin Shengyi mentioned that the woman sold perfume powder on the street. He Weifang suggested they could collaborate with her to make perfume powder from the damaged peonies. They approached the woman, who agreed immediately but requested that He Weifang involve her daughter, Da Fu, in the business. Da Fu was extremely sensitive to scents but lacked the gentle demeanor typically expected of women. While they were discussing, the ex-husband's friend arrived with the sachet, causing trouble by spreading rumors that he had spent the night with Qin Shengyi. The surrounding crowd began to slander He Weifang and Qin Shengyi's characters. When He Weifang confronted the man, he grabbed her wrist. At that critical moment, Da Fu intervened, overpowering the man and revealing that he smelled of a prostitute's perfume, exposing his lies. The man, unable to overpower Da Fu, fled in fear. He Weifang immediately invited Da Fu to join them in their business. Excited, Da Fu joyfully lifted He Weifang and spun her around. At Da Fu's eager request, the three women, each with distinct personalities but a deep bond, swore sisterhood before a deity, filled with trust in each other and aspirations for a prosperous future. The next day, everyone dove into learning how to make perfume powder. After a series of intricate steps, they reached the crucial final stage of scent blending. The elderly woman patiently explained that there were no fixed standards for scent blending. The intensity and quantity depended entirely on personal preference. However, since they were responsible for both blending and packaging the perfume, as well as sales, they were short-handed. He Weifang came up with an idea. Qin Shengyi went to a fabric store and carefully applied the Peony perfume powder on herself. The unique and enchanting fragrance quickly spread, attracting the attention of several women who were curious about where it was being sold. Meanwhile, Da Fu performed acrobatics on the street to draw attention and promote the perfume powder, enthusiastically advertising their unique do-it-yourself scent blending option. Thanks to their efforts, their perfume stall was surrounded by women who enjoyed creating their own scents. By evening, after calculating the day's earnings, He Weifang happily informed Qin Shengyi that they had made enough to cover the previous losses from the peonies. She had opened a bank account in Qin Shengyi's name and deposited Qin Shengyi's share of the profits there. Now Qin Shengyi wouldn't have to depend on anyone else. Hearing this, Qin Shengyi felt deeply grateful to He Weifang and hopeful about their future. The next day, He Weifang was busy in the yard with the peonies that had been returned by customers. After thorough research and improvements, she was confident that the transplanted peonies would thrive better in pots. Qin Shengyi brought her a flour cake to take a break. Eating it, He Weifang remembered Yu Lu, who had died protecting her. It was Yu Lu's favorite food. Saddened by the memory, He Weifang quickly regrouped and thought of a new idea. Giving flour cakes to customers who bought peonies and perfume powder would surely boost sales. Indeed, Qin Shengyi had made 100 flour cakes, but most were taken by Jiang Changyang's guards. He Weifang was surprised that Jiang Changyang was taking from them for free. She immediately mounted a horse and chased after them. Unexpectedly, Jiang Changyang wasn't headed to a dance hall, but to an orphanage. Seeing him play with the children, He Weifang found it hard to reconcile the corrupt official others described with the man she saw. With many questions, He Weifang asked Jiang Changyang why he hid his true self. He replied that he was not as noble as she imagined. Everything he did was merely an attempt to accumulate some good karma through his wealth. The next day, He Weifang went out to buy fresh flowers. On her way back, she accidentally witnessed a murder and hid in a basket, terrified. After a while, she peeked out just as a man in black removed his mask, revealing himself to be Jiang Changyang. He saw the peony flowers hanging on the fence and searched through a stack of firewood but did not open the basket covering He Weifang, allowing her to narrowly escape. Shaken, He Weifang returned home and had nightmares of Jiang Changyang trying to kill her. The next day, she intended to run her stall to distract herself, but Qin Shengyi informed her that Xu Jiju, a government official who often spoke up for the people, had been murdered, and many shops closed to mourn him. He Weifang then realized that Xu Jiju was the person Jiang Changyang had killed that night. Remembering Xu Jiju was her cousin's teacher, she considered revealing the truth. Just as she was about to speak out, she saw Jiang Changyang enter the morning hall in tears. confusing her even more about his true character. She asked her cousin about the relationship between Jiang Changyang and Shuji Zhou. Her cousin angrily said that Jiang Changyang was deceitful, sowing discord before the emperor and causing the emperor to distance himself from Shuji Zhou, who was deceived by Jiang Changyang and ignored others' advice. Worried about the risks of exposing Jiang Changyang and fearing for her life, Weifang secretly slipped away, but Jiang Changyang spotted her. That evening, while tending to the garden, she saw Jiang Changyang sitting on the wall watching her. He confronted her with a piece of fabric found at the crime scene, which he believed was from her clothing, and questioned what she saw that night. Weifang feigned calm and denied the fabric was hers. The two tested each other, and Weifang, to survive, claimed she was just a commoner wanting to earn a small living. Jiang Changyang warned her to remain clever for life. Afterward, through the relentless efforts of the three sisters, they finally opened a shop in the bustling area of Chang'an, which Weifang named Flowers Fill the Pavilion. On the opening day, the shop was bustling. Changyang presented Weifang with a jade pendant she had sold in the past to save her. Now Changyang had redeemed it. Weifang took her mother's relic and hugged Changyang tightly, solidifying their deep bond. Meanwhile, Liu Chang had written an article on flood management and submitted it to Prince Ning. However, after several days, not only did Prince Ning not open it, but he also ordered it to be burned along with others' submissions. Liu Chang, feeling troubled, went out to drink. He saw Weifang greeting guests at the entrance of Flowers Fill the Pavilion and approached her while drunk. Weifang was being hassled by a customer when Liu Chang, still seeing her as his possession, pushed the customer away. The customer, undervaluing him, ordered his servant to knock Liu Chang to the ground. Once they saw Liu Chang's identification badge and realized he was associated with Prince Ning, they immediately knelt and begged for mercy. Weifang had her staff bring Liu Chang some ointment and sent a message asking him not to bother her anymore and to leave quickly. Holding the ointment, Liu Chang deeply regretted his actions. Others respected him only because of Prince Ning, whereas Weifang valued him for who he was. Unfortunately, he had lost her. Flowers Filled the Pavilion's business was stabilizing, but all flower businesses in Chang'an were controlled by the Flower Merchants Association. To thrive, joining the association was essential. The three sisters went to visit the association. Before entering, Weifang reminded Da Fu to be polite. Despite their respectful and humble attitudes, the president of the association made them wait for 4 hours. Weifang presented a gift and complimented the prosperity of the association under their leadership, then applied for membership, offering to contribute to the association. The men, full of condescension, claimed that historically only men had joined, and speculated that the sisters had succeeded only because of men. They suggested that once the sisters married and had children, the shop would be neglected, and proposed that the shop should be managed by the association. If Weifang insisted on joining, she would have to pay more than men. Da Fu couldn't tolerate this and questioned why women should pay more when men are born of women after 10 months and raised with great effort. One man mocked Da Fu for being rash and crude, saying such people would tarnish the association's reputation. Da Fu stood her ground and refused to accept the insult, starting a heated argument. Changyang tried to calm Da Fu down, but Weifang stood up and said Da Fu was right. They sincerely wanted to join the association, but its rules were unreasonable and demeaning to women. There was no point in further discussion. The membership was unsuccessful. The Flower Merchants Association deliberately oppressed them by banning all fertilizer merchants from selling to them. Weifang decided to make their own fertilizer. They collected swill from restaurants and mixed it with collected feathers and manure. Despite the dirty and smelly work, they dug pits to process the fertilizer, and after several days of hard work, they successfully created their own flower fertilizer, solving the crisis. Flowers Fill the Pavilion was doing well, but Changyang noticed something odd. Recently, someone ordered flowers to be delivered not to a residence or shop, but to a bridge. Initially, they didn't pay much attention to it. However, when passing the bridge today, they saw the flower pot still there, with the flowers broken and the roots missing. The same customer had come again to buy flowers, specifying the same delivery location. Weifang decided to see who the person was. The three women hid nearby and caught someone about to cut the roots of the peonies. To their surprise, It was Xiao Chun, the daughter of the Flower Merchants Association's president. Da Fu suspected Xiao Chun was deliberately causing trouble. Qin Shengyi suggested exposing Xiao Chun's actions publicly. Xiao Chun pleaded with them not to escalate the matter to the Flower Merchants Association. After a moment of thought, Weifang told Da Fu to release her. Despite their issues with the association, these were business matters and should not involve family. Given the harsh scrutiny women face, escalating the issue could damage Xiao Chun's reputation. Xiao Chun sincerely thanked them and left. Weifang then went to deliver this month's profits to Jiang Changyang. As she was about to leave, she suddenly heard Prince Ning and Liu Chang coming to visit. In a rush, she hid. Unexpectedly, after Jiang Changyang and others left, she thought she saw the ghost of the deceased Xu Jizhou and screamed, fainting from fright. Jiang Changyang woke her up, claiming her sleep talk proved she was at the scene of Xu Jizhou's murder, and now he had to deal with her. Believing she was about to die, Weifang took a dagger and stabbed herself, but felt no pain. Surprised, she realized the knife was a spring-loaded prop. She then understood that Jiang Changyang had tricked her. Outside, Xu Jizhou scolded Jiang Changyang for joking around. Weifang realized she had not seen a ghost but a living person. Xu Jizhou was not dead. Jiang Changyang explained that he and Xu Jizhou, his mentor, pretended to be enemies to deceive Prince Ning, who wanted Xu Jizhou dead. Fortunately, he had arrived in time to kill Prince Ning's men and save Xu Jizhou. To fool Prince Ning, he had a condemned prisoner impersonate Xu Jizhou's corpse and hid Xu Jizhou at his home. Weifang was full of questions about why Jiang Changyang would reveal such a secret to her. He expressed his concern about Xu Jizhou's safety. Weifang offered her flower shop as a hiding place if Xu Jizhou did not mind. Jiang Changyang praised her intelligence and asked her to take good care of his teacher. A few days later, Jiang Changyang visited his teacher at the shop and brought Weifang a gift to show his gratitude. It was a painting, which delighted her. She couldn't help asking Xu Jizhou whether Jiang Changyang was fundamentally good or evil, loyal or treacherous. Xu Jizhou spoke with a hint of admiration, saying that Jiang Changyang was a person who willingly endured abuse, not only painlessly, but even enjoying it. To this, Weifang startlingly called Jiang Changyang a scoundrel. Xu Jizhou burst into laughter, greatly enjoying Weifang's bold personality. Weifang heard noise coming from Jiang's residence and went to investigate. She learned that Jiang Changyang's mother's death anniversary was approaching, and a minor official had arranged a puppet show praising his parents' lifelong love to curry favor with him. Jiang Changyang was furious and exiled the official for bribery. Seeing Jiang Changyang upset, Weifang noticed him drawn by the aroma of her barbecue. She invited him to drink and eat meat. Jiang Changyang confided that everyone thought his parents had a loving marriage, but only he knew his father had fallen in love with another woman and tormented his mother into becoming a bitter woman. Soon after his mother's death, his father eagerly married the other woman. It was only through Jiang Changyang's threat of suicide that his father abandoned the idea. People thought his father remained single out of loyalty to his deceased wife and praised him for his fidelity. Jiang Changyang helped Weifang get divorced, thinking of his mother and wishing she could have let go and moved on as Weifang did. Having witnessed his parents' unhappy marriage, he had no desire to harm anyone or marry himself. Weifang, having suffered through a painful marriage, felt that her current free life was the best. She had firmly decided never to marry again, wanting only to live as she pleased. Both doubting each other's resolve, they made a bet. Whoever married first would be a dog. That night, they drank and admired flowers, eventually falling asleep together on a couch. When Weifang awoke, she was startled by a woman leisurely watching them and screamed, waking Jiang Changyang. The woman turned out to be his aunt, who, believing they were intimate, insisted that Jiang Changyang marry Weifang quickly. Jiang Changyang explained that Weifang was his gardener and nothing had happened between them, but his aunt wouldn't listen. To escape his aunt's marriage pressure, Jiang Changyang quickly hugged Weifang and pretended to be deeply in love, saying he would marry no one but her while frantically signaling her. Weifang got the signal and slapped him, calling him a rogue, then ran out crying. Weifang thought her slap would cause the aunt to scold her as a shrew. Instead, the aunt soon arrived with generous gifts to ask for her hand in marriage. Weifang did not understand why the aunt did not blame her. The aunt revealed that she had been widowed at 18 and had traveled extensively with a trading caravan. Understanding the vastness of the world and the difficulties women face, she believed women should be supportive of each other. Weifang admired the aunt's insightful understanding, but still candidly stated that there was no romantic involvement between herself and Jiang Changyang. However, the aunt felt that even if Weifang was determined not to marry, it did not prevent her from harboring hopes for a beautiful love. The aunt curiously asked Weifang what her ideal partner would be like. After some thought, Weifang replied that she hoped for someone who understood all her likes, decisions, and dreams, and could face adversity with her. Hearing this, the aunt secretly made plans. She bribed the guards to lure Weifang to Jiang Changyang's house and locked them in a room together. Weifang found Jiang Changyang tied up and hanging. She located the mechanism to release him. At that moment, countless fireflies suddenly filled the room. Weifang was puzzled, and Jiang Changyang explained that his aunt had set this up to bring them together. Weifang found it amusing, especially when she saw many notes hanging around the room listing her preferences and details about Jiang Changyang's life from childhood. She read them aloud, and Jiang Changyang rushed to grab them, both laughing together. The aunt, listening outside, felt reassured. The next day, the aunt instructed Jiang Changyang to continue taking care of Weifang. Reluctantly, Jiang Changyang had his guards keep tabs on her and learned that Flowers Filled the Pavilion was in serious trouble. The Flower Merchants Association sought revenge by hiring a sorcerer and bribing customers to slander Weifang, claiming she harbored a demon and that her perfume powder had killed people. The local people were misled and began throwing their purchased perfume powder on the ground, demanding that Flowers Fill the Pavilion shut down. Upon hearing about the situation, the aunt pressured Jiang Changyang to help quickly. He found Weifang, who was surprisingly calm, knowing she had a plan. Weifang asked Jiang Changyang to help stage a performance. The next day, Jiang Changyang bought a sachet from a flower shop run by the Flower Merchants Association and soon pretended to vomit blood and faint in the street. Later, he brought the sorcerer to Flowers Fill the Pavilion, claiming his condition resulted from flowers bought there. The sorcerer theatrically circled Weifang and then declared that the demon inside her had vanished, leaving her with a more auspicious aura. He suggested that the sachet Jiang Changyang carried was the issue. Jiang Changyang immediately threw the sachet on the ground. The sorcerer deduced that it came from the city's largest flower shop, which Jiang Changyang confirmed. The sorcerer then claimed that the demon had transferred, and that being near the now auspicious Weifang was beneficial. Seizing the opportunity, Weifang offered her own sachets for free and announced they would continue to be sold, inviting everyone to buy them anytime. This quickly reversed the reputations of the two flower shops, boosting business for Flowers Fill the Pavilion. Elsewhere, thanks to Prince Ning's patronage, Liu Chang's father returned to Chang'an for a position. Liu Chang's mother went out to enjoy the city's prosperity and unexpectedly saw Weifang, only then realizing that Weifang was still alive. One day, Weifang went to the mountains to pick flowers. On her way back, she was chased by a person in black. In a panic, she fled, but the pursuer was relentless. The attacker swung a knife at Weifang, who blocked with her hands and offered to pay double to turn the assailant away, but he was unmoved. Suddenly, an arrow struck the attacker's shoulder. Weifang seized the opportunity to grab the knife and wounded the attacker, who then fled. Her rescuer approached, changed her dress, and bandaged her injured palms. Weifang asked for the rescuer's name, noticed the official escort, and guessed that the rescuer was of high status. Although unable to repay the favor, she offered to give some potted flowers as a token of gratitude. The rescuer did not reveal their name and mentioned they were new to Chang'an, helping others for good karma, and believed women should help each other. Returning home with her bloodied clothes, Weifang was stopped by Jiang Changyang, who immediately noticed her injured palm and inquired about what had happened. Reluctant to tell, Jiang Changyang threatened to call Qin Shengyi and Da Fu. Not wanting to worry her sisters, Weifang revealed she was chased, suspecting it was the Flower Merchants Association's doing. Jiang Changyang thought it unlikely that business competition would escalate to murder and promised to have his guards investigate the next day. After their conversation, Weifang joyfully noticed a similarly injured and bandaged kitten in the courtyard. Jiang Changyang complained that despite his efforts, the kitten would not stay. He Weifang remarked that a cat raised in a yard would never be as free as one outside, appreciating the kitten's spirit. Changyang looked at He Weifang with an affectionate smile. The next day, Changyang discovered that the Liu family was behind the attack on He Weifang. He wanted to resolve the issue for her, but He Weifang refused his help and went to confront Liu Chang instead. She told Liu Chang that his parents were after her life, and if he felt guilty about a past incident involving counterfeit medicine, he should act as if she were already dead and cut all ties with her. Liu Chang knelt before his parents afterward, begging them to spare He Weifang and vowing to keep his distance from her. He Weifang and Da Fu, while delivering goods, saved Xiao Chun, who was dressed as a man and being chased. They asked why she was disguised. Xiao Chun explained she practiced medicine, which was frowned upon for a woman, so she disguised herself as a man to treat patients. She faced harassment for her low fees. He Weifang realized that Xiao Chun had been harvesting flower roots for medicinal purposes. To help her avoid trouble, He Weifang suggested Xiao Chun dress as a woman and stay in the shop to lay low. Xiao Chun noticed He Weifang's hand was weak. After examining her, Xiao Chun diagnosed tendon damage and warned that without proper treatment, He Weifang could lose the use of her hand. Changyang was skeptical, but Xiao Chun asserted that she was a healer first and the Flower Merchants Association president's daughter second. Trusting her own judgment, He Weifang agreed to let Xiao Chun treat her. Soon after, Changyang came to He Weifang's for barbecue. Seeing sauce on He Weifang's lips, he reached out to wipe it off. This casual gesture stirred unexpected feelings in both of them, making the atmosphere ambiguously warm. That evening, Changyang brought an ointment he got from the royal physician and personally applied it to He Weifang. When their palms and fingers touched, feelings of mutual affection quietly grew between them.